Hello everybody and welcome back to Cities Skylines, where once again I loaded up and we got the Milestone 11 unlock. That's very interesting, especially since I can see we're already apparently a third of the way to 12? I'm not sure why that's changing so significantly when reloading the game. That might be a bug, but I don't know what we can do about it, if anything. We can definitely progress forward here and have the time be set up a little bit differently. It's currently raining and is, of course, still winter. We have a fair amount of abandoned structures down over here, and I'm wondering why that is. That's certainly intriguing. I wouldn't have necessarily expected to have a cluster of abandoned structures down here. It might just be due to high rent issues. So we can certainly get these demolished. What is this? That building collapsed due to lack of maintenance. Okay, so a fire engine has been dispatched to it. For now, that's reasonably fine. And what do we have going on here? These are also collapsed due to lack of maintenance. So these are residential structures. That's interesting. I'm wondering if we're lacking a service for that. Not that I know of. Definitely intriguing. So we know that we have a fair amount of demand for, as usual, light residential. There's always a huge demand for light residential. However, we should probably consider doing some commercial zoning. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start... This is office zoning over here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to zone any of this over here office. There's not a lot of demand for office right now. I'm aware of that. We're going to zone all of this over to Anchor Highway as office. Then we're going to zone all of this down here, and actually we can do high density office. We probably should, because there's not actually a differentiation, right? So we can do something along the lines of that for high density office. Then, for commercial, we can start zoning high-density commercial. And I want to start thinking about doing that, like, over here, right? So that's going to get rid of some of this residential. No doubt about that. That is understood. I'm going to rezone this over here as well. And this is currently all office, so I want this to also be commercial. Now, this is going to be a lot of rezoning at once. A potentially problematic amount of rezoning at once. But I kind of want to see how this feels at this point. And we also need to move this Villa City. What is this? I think it's actually fine where it is, right? Yeah, it's fine where it is. So all of these structures are going to be demolished, right? We're going to have no demand for commercial for a while or office for a while. So I just want to have these areas relatively changed over here. What is going on here? Ah, that's these condos. So I'm going to move the condos down over here. Actually, this is a bad spot for it. Here. There we go. And now we can rezone this with high-density business. Okay. So that's fine for now. I just want these to be delineated by meta block, right? So what that ends up meaning is that this should all be industrial. So industrial would go in from here over to, in theory, here, like that. This will all be industrial. And this will all be industrial as well. Like that. Did I miss a block here? Yes, I did. Okay. So we definitely want to have this area all be zoned industrial. Okay, cool. So something along the lines of that will do. Now, we can certainly come in and build on-off ramps over here. Looks good. So an on-ramp, in theory, over here. We do know that there's a fairly large incline here, so that might be slope too steep. Yes, indeed. We might have to branch it out over this way. That is a significant slope. Okay. This works out over here. So if we were to just bring this in over here, that slope too steep. But if we were to bring it out like this, is that still slope too steep? We can pull it off right here. Hang on. No, we can't. That's all slope too steep. Okay. So there is a very significant grade there, right? No doubt about that. Also, high clouds. Those clouds are a significant performance drain. Wow. This feels like maybe like 20 FPS. I don't know. And then we go down here and it's like, oh yeah, this is probably a solid 40. I don't know. That's significant. I suppose you're not supposed to look at the clouds all that often, so why bother optimizing them, right? So I guess that makes some amount of sense. I want to check up over here to see if we can do our on-off ramps up here. Yeah, this is reasonably fine here. No significant issue there. So it's mostly just down here where we're going to run into issues. Like, that's a 20% grade, right? That's kind of huge. Absolutely, that's huge. So what do we want to do about it? Well, a big part of it... Yeah, this is a 20% grade here. What does it need to be? I think it needs to be... Even a 14% grade is slope too steep? This is a 10% grade. This is now a 9% grade. This is now a 7% grade. The slope too steep is actually up here. Okay, I was looking at it wrong then. Gotcha. So I think what we need to do is we need to take out this section of highway and split this out more along the lines of this, right? So this is a 20% grade here. We can have it go out over here, which is extremely wide. There's no doubt about that. It is incredibly, incredibly wide. And that slope too steep even out that wide on this side. Yeah. So that's like a 30% grade there. So I think we're going to have to do something about this grade situation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out to here. And we're going to terraform this area. I want to grab the level terrain tool. And we're going to level it out to about this height, right? It's an extreme grade. No doubt about that. And I don't want to have this leveled out. So let's just soften that on out of there. Actually, yeah. Soften terrain tool is, I think, the way to go here. So that'll do for now. Yes, this is still very, very low. No doubt about that. We'll get that cleared out in a moment. So for now, that's reasonably fine. And I want to get this out of here. And we're going to rebuild this section of road. This is going to be quite a thing. No doubt about it. Snapping on. And I want to be in straight line tool. Okay. So we bring this out. And obviously, we're going to need it to be like here, right? So that's a 1.1% grade. But then we're going to need this to start going down as much as possible. So this is on the ground. And we want it to come down to like here, right? That's like a 40% grade. But we want it to come down to actually here. And that has to happen very, very quickly. No doubt about it. We can absolutely have it come in over here. That's no problem. And it can do something kind of like that, right? One thing we may want to consider is taking this out of here and changing the grade here so that it incorporates all the way through here straight into the roundabout. Like that. So that's now a 16% grade overall, right? And now we can theoretically, I don't think this is going to work, but we can theoretically attempt, oh, we need to be in curve tool. That would help. We can theoretically attempt to bring this out, but I don't expect this to be significantly different. Yeah, it has to get really up there. No doubt about it. Really, really up there. So the core issue here now is that what we need to do is have less extreme of a drop-off here, right? So that, of course, means that we need to take this out of here, and we need to increase the altitude of this overall area, including this road. So this road has to come out of here. And now we need to increase the elevation of this terrain. So we're just going to increase that up to somewhere around here, and then use the level terrain tool to level that on out. About like this. And we'll get this cleaned up as soon as we're done with this. We'll do something along the lines of that. And then we can get this eliminated. Okay. Now the road needs to be built through at this altitude. So we need to get it up onto the terrain here. That's a very steep slope, though. No doubt about it. So I'm going to take these roads out of here. And I'm going to rebuild this up to about here, right? And then we bring it in right there, like that. Then we bring this guy out. That gives slope too steep, and that's not shocking to me because we have a significant increase in altitude here. So we can get rid of that for now and see what this would be if we were to bring this over to here, but elevate it up a little bit perhaps. Or, even better, we bring this height out through here a bit. Kind of like that. Okay, so now we would be looking to have this elevate up out over here. That's a 37% grade, right? But we can have it connect in over here in theory. That's now a 15% grade.
Before we dive into our next selection,
So it can make its way up like that, and then that's a significant downfall there. No doubt about that. And then this connects like so, and that now bridges over, which isn't really what we're looking for necessarily.
Before entering the slower Largo,
But it might work for a temporary setup. So we can get that going for now, and then we can go back into our highway here and bring that out to here. And then the highway is going to have to drop off as quickly as it can to about here. And then connecting in on that 180-degree marker right there, and then down over, well, we're going to have to come up over here. Snapping is being a problem. We're going to need it to be about right here, but I do want to snap to angle. Only angle for right now. So there we go, and then we bring that down like this. Now that slope too steep. Okay. It's a whole thing. This is a very, very extreme hill right here, and this is basically the worst hill that we're going to have to deal with looking at this. So we need to get this under control, right? So step one is at this point going to be build those on-off ramps. We'll get this dealt with in a bit. So let's get the on-off ramps built here, and that means just bringing it in about like this. That actually needs to be flipped around in terms of directionality, right? So we just flip it right around. Hang on. That's the wrong button. No, it's not. So it needs to go this way. Okay. And then this one goes this way. There we go. So that'll do for now. That gives us the on-off ramps. Now we need a connection over here, right? And we need to handle this whole terraforming area. It's been grim, shall we say. We're going to use the soften tool here and try to soften this out just as much as we can. It needs a lot more than this. Certainly. But that'll do for now. So we can just continue to soften these areas. And then we can get this all, like, redone here in a moment. Okay, so I want to take the green highway out here. I feel like we can probably... I'm just thinking here. I want to continue to soften this area for now. Like, let's even make that bigger and give it 100% strength. This doesn't feel like it's doing anything at this point. So I think this is about as soft as it's going to get, unfortunately. So now we need to attempt to get over this road, right? And we need to link up over here. So we would then bring this highway over. So that brings it, like, directly in, right? One thing I'm wondering, can we eliminate that and have it drop underneath of this road? So we keep this at 10 meters, right? And then this guy would come straight on out over into here like this, right? Like that. Then what we can think about doing is taking back some of this area, like so. And maybe even dropping this section slightly lower. But we might just have to reroute that. This is quite a hill here, no doubt about it. So then we would bring this straight on in to go, in theory, here, right? Well, I want to check angling here. So, in theory, here. Yes, like that. Then we would need to connect these, right? So then the question becomes, if we're connecting these up, what'll that end up looking like? And I want one lane, one-way highways. That's slope too steep, which really doesn't surprise me. That's a 45% grade right there, which is extreme. Yeah, this is really not going down all that far. But I think we've probably flattened this out enough and elevated this, hopefully enough. It's kind of lumpy, but hopefully we've elevated it enough that we're now able to pull this out here. That's a 25.3% grade. If we just widen it, we might be able to get there. Okay, that slope too steep, specifically on the ramp. It can come out over here. So if we were to just bring it out about like this, that works. It's not pretty by any means, but it certainly works. So then we can bring that up over here. That side is just barely slope too steep. We can have it come in up here. Something like this, although that's now slope too steep over here. So we're going to have to remove this, but at least we can get it out wider now. Actually, this works. It's a very, very wide set of on-off ramps, but that is by necessity. Okay, so we got to go further out than this. About right. Actually, it should be about here, right? So it should be something like this. Now, these need to be inverted in their directionality, which we can easily do. Actually, just this one. That one was good. Okay. This does not look even at all. I'm going to take this one out of here, and we're going to try that one again. Okay, so let's go into Curve Tool, only snapping to angles. We bring this at 10 meters, extend you out, and you can come down somewhere around... It'll need to be like here to feel about even. There's a lot more squares on this side. I don't know. Does that feel about even? Something about like that. I don't know. It's not great, but I guess it'll do. And of course, we're missing our road connecting here, and that's probably part of this. So I want to make sure that this is just coming in like so. We have overlapping items here due to the pillars. Okay, we might have to curve this road ever so slightly here. So then it would go something like that. And then it would curve back over. And then it would come in over here. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I think it's necessary. I don't think we really have another option here, to be honest. I do want to reevaluate this section of highway here, but ultimately, that was one doozy of a hill. There's no doubt about that. So let's get this into position here. And then we would just look to connect it in over here, right? So we would need to find a location where we don't have overlapping items. Okay, that is better on the highway front. I wonder if we can find a place for these on-off ramps where we don't need this nonsense. Let's see if we can. I want to just build this in like so. There we go. And now let's just see if we can find anything. We may not be able to, but now we know where it's possible, right? So we can bring this guy out. That gives us overlapping items due to the pillar that's right there. And ultimately, I feel like we don't need a pillar there. And we don't appear to be able to bulldoze that. Okay. Okay, let's try this one more time. I want this to go right about... That's only 170 there. I want it to go right about here as far as the pillar goes, right? That slope too steep. So that's because of the drop-off here. So I think we might be better off building it over this direction. So that would end up going here. And then we would drop a pillar, in theory, approximately here. And then we would just bring it up like that. I feel like that's better. I definitely feel like that's better. Okay, so now let's see about bringing this guy up. It'll need to be pretty long and potentially quite wide. That's a 20-degree grade. Indeed. Grim. That is grim. Absolutely, horrifically grim. So, let's see about maximizing this curve. Even that gives us slope too steep at a 20% grade. So we absolutely do have to remove this section of highway and just bring it in up over here, right? So somewhere up here. I want to have this be elevated up here, ideally. Woof. Okay. That is certainly not ideal in the slightest. If only this would work here. We could bring it up over here. It's definitely going to be overshooting the block if we do that. No way around it, I think. It's just such a steep grade here. Such a steep grade. I feel like we can get it in on this side easier, right? So that would end up coming out, in theory, like out over here. We're going to have pillars right where this needs to be, right? I would really prefer to have it about here. And we could do that for this side. Could we do that for this side? I doubt it. That's a negative. It would have to go all the way up over here. Okay. I want to take a look. What is fundamentally different between these two sides? Why is that different? I guess we drop off over here. Yeah, this does have like a U-bend to it. Okay. So if we were to remove this street one more time and build this relatively straight through, we're going to need to level this section of terrain. So I'm going to turn our brush size significantly down, and we're going to use the level terrain tool. I'm going to grab this altitude, and we're just going to level it out to there, like that. Then we're going to bring in our road, like so. That has a very, very small grade to it, but we can do something along the lines of that. Then we can try to bring this in. It'll still need to be quite wide. Slope too steep and overlapping items. In theory, it was out over here that we found it previously. Uh-huh. And we'll see if this one ends up working. Not quite. 20% grade. Why is that fundamentally different? This should be perfectly flat. And this here, it's not flat, right? But we could maybe make it a little flatter. I don't know. This cuts through this hill here, which is fine. That's absolutely okay. We're completely fine with that. And I'd like it to do the same thing out on this side, right? So it can just come in over here. We just need that 10-meter give. So slope is too steep at a 12% grade. That doesn't seem right. What was the grade here when we built this? 1.2%. That's also not right. Okay. Good to know. We're very close to getting this built, but it really doesn't want to build it. And, I mean, this is a really extreme hill. This particular section is very rough. So how do I want to tackle it? Well, we can take this out. Like so. Take Spruce Street out as well. And then just look to flatten out this entire area, right? So something along the lines of this. And we tried something similar to this previously, but we can just do this for now. Then our highway needs to drop down extremely significantly. Too significantly. So if we want to get down to a 10-meter altitude by over here, we can do that as of here. Okay. We take this out of there. And then we extend this section of highway directly in here. Now that's technically 179 degrees. Snap only to the angle, please. There you go. Now the question is, can we get in up here with our on-off ramps? So the one-lane, one-way highway would end up going... Nope, we need to be in curve mode. Curve mode. There we go. This would go up somewhere over here, right? That's apparently sloped too steep, but it works here. So we would bring it in about there for the on-ramp, and then the off-ramp would go about there. Then we need to handle our crossroads, right? So I think what that means is we need to take these streets out of here for now. They will get replaced, and we need to smooth out this terrain now. So, soften terrain tool, we're going to crank up our brush size, and we're just going to soften this right on out. And we're basically putting the existing hills back in. Okay, now there's still going to be some awkwardness here, no doubt about that. But we can now extend this road over to here, like that, and extend this road over to here. That gives us an overlapping item, but we can put it in right like that. Cool. And we can extend this road up. No problem there. And extend this road down. That gives a slope too steep. We might be able to squeak in over here. It's a 22% grade. Noted. Okay, so that brings us down to only having a problem in one specific spot, right? And that spot is right here. That's now sloped too steep. So we can then bring this out of here for now, and we can connect up the road like this. Then we can bring this guy in, like so, and then through approximately like so. Awkwardness ensues in this intersection. I think that we did not necessarily nail the angling there. We can try that again. I want to snap only to angle for now. Okay, so it lets us build this. And then this. Yeah, it's a little awkward on that intersection, but that's, I think, mostly just because of this grade. Okay, I'm relatively happy with that. We got there in the end. Phenomenal. We didn't actually end up ticking and experiencing this nonsense. We'll get there next episode because we're past time to put a cut in here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Upper Cumberland Gamers, I'm in the habit. I believe you changed your name there. Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Katogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.